Those of you that haven't been here before, just want to welcome you and just let you know that we are a collective of people that want to share and learn from each other. Sometimes we have guest speakers, sometimes it's more casual. Got a great group here and welcome all of you. Thank you for being here. Carlos was going to hop on for a little bit. I don't know if you can be, how long you can be here, Carlos, but I know you put in the chat, in the WhatsApp chat, bring your questions. So I know people have some questions for you. And if anybody else wants to talk, please share what you're up to in the crypto world and what you're learning, what you want to learn. That's kind of what we're all about. Take it away, whoever wants to jump in.
Well, we need to talk about the sacrifice, please. This is like the one time, this has to be front and center this week.
Yeah.
Carlos, do it, please.
All right.
Give everybody the last chance here.
Yeah, I know. I've been telling you guys about it for like a long time, but all right. Well, first of all, there's a lot of fuzz going around on Twitter right now. If you guys just open, everybody is just talking about sacrificing to PulseX. And the reason for that is because PulseX is a fork of Uniswap. So there's been a couple forks of Uniswap before, like PancakeSwap and many other decentralized exchanges. And what's happening right now is that a few months ago, when we were looking into Pulse Chain, which is a fork of Ethereum, it's basically a whole new blockchain that is launching, that is basically giving you the biggest airdrop, which means that it's a hard fork of Ethereum, meaning that all the different ERC20 tokens are going to be mirrored in Pulse Chain. That means that if you have ERC20s, meaning USDC, or any other ERC20 token on your MetaMask wallet, since you are integrated into the Ethereum network, all these different assets are automatically going to be mirrored or copied into the Pulse Chain network, meaning that Pulse Chain is literally a copy of Ethereum, exactly with the same assets that it has, even with the same NFTs. So NFTs are going to be copied. Everything is going to be copied into the Pulse Chain network. So once Pulse Chain launches, you in your MetaMask, if you have any ERC20 tokens, automatically you're going to see the same ERC20 tokens in your MetaMask on the Pulse Chain network. You don't have to do anything. It's automatic, so people should be aware of the Pulse Chain mainnet launch, which is going to be in a couple months. And therefore, you will see those tokens. So one of the main things that is happening there is that all these different tokens and platforms will need some sort of liquidity pairing with USDC and so forth. So therefore, there needs to be a platform like Uniswap for liquidity providing, and as well as swapping the different tokens you guys are gonna have on Pulse Chain, right? So what happened is that we had a sacrifice phase, which means like participating on an ICO or an IDO, or you can think about it that way, an IPO, where you go ahead and send a certain amount of tokens to a sacrificing address. And I'll explain why it's called a sacrificing address. And then therefore you will get an airdrop allocated to the amount of obviously investment that you put in for you to get that. So out of the sacrifice that I made for example, for Pulse Chain, I got allocated a certain amount of Pulse tokens that are now, basically we got the sacrifice tokens allocated according to the investment that we did. And the value that was supposed to be given was 0.008 cents. Right now, people are trying to sacrifice at 0.23 cents. That's an incredible amount of buying pressure for the Pulse Chain network. So automatically, I'm guessing that once the launch of the mainnet is happening, we're probably going to do a quick 100x according to the numbers right now. But anyway, the Uniswap fork is Pulse X. So This Pulse X is also a project from the team. Basically, Richard Hart, which is the founder of Hex, is founded Pulse Chain Network, which is already on the test network, basically. It's also launching the Pulse X project due to the fact that we're going to need all this liquidity to start trading within the Pulse Chain network. So he's also coming out with this project, which is basically just a copy of Uniswap, but he's making a couple modifications. The modifications on this Pulse X fork is that the fees are going to be lower than the Uniswap version, as well as the liquidity. Half of the liquidity providing is already going to be there due to the fact that we're mirroring all these different assets. So LPs are actually going to profit quite a bit on, and yield farmers are going to profit quite a bit with that because half of their liquidity is already being provided. So anyway, a lot of people are being excited about it. The people that have missed the Pulse Chain sacrifice are super hyped to actually get into the Pulse X sacrifice phase. The reason that it's called a sacrifice is because for legal reasons, the legality of participating in a project like an ICO here in the United States is illegal. You, according to the SEC law, you cannot participate in any project that gives you that. So ICOs are illegal for United States citizens and so forth. So what happens here is that, Richard basically says, you should, for us to go around the SEC law, you should not be giving money and expect a profit from the work of others. So therefore, you are going to sacrifice your money. You're going to send it to an origin address and you're going to sacrifice it, having zero expectations of you getting an airdrop or zero expectations for you to get a certain token. And if you get it, well, good for you, but you should have zero expectation of profiting from the work of others. And if you do sacrifice something, it's for making a statement for freedom of speech and the right to assemble. Just to make that statement, basically, you're kind of like donating money. And that's why it's called sacrifice, because you shouldn't have an expectation of getting that money back at all. So for legal reasons is that, they did the sacrifice phase for Hex, and Bitcoiners were able to sacrifice their Bitcoin in exchange of Hex. And obviously you guys know that Hex has done a 10,000x. And anyway, Pulse Chain is going to do well, and Pulse X is basically just a Uniswap version of that. So now people are asking about how does the sacrifice work? How do I do it? How do I even participate in that? And is it something that anyone can participate in? And so basically, the sacrifice is literally sending your coins to an address. There's a lot of scams out there, so there's going to be like Pogo starter scams saying like the token is trading here and there, and I'm going to go ahead and send you this, and you should send me your money so you can go. There's so many scams already out there. So you guys, the reason I'm jumping in this call right now is to kind of show you what the process is in case you guys want to participate on the Pulse X sacrifice phase, so you guys can have that nice little 100x or 200x. So the reason I'm saying 200x is not just talking out of my ass, is literally PancakeSwap doing a 200x in 7 months when it was a fork of Uniswap. So whatever it is that you guys want to expect from that or historical forks that have come out of Uniswap, you guys go ahead and make your own choice to see what you're doing. I'm personally sacrificing quite a bit of money in there. I'm sacrificing around 100,000. So in that case, I didn't go as hard as I did for Pulse X for Pulse Chain Network. I only sacrificed about 50,000 for Pulse Chain. But now that I got the allocation of tokens in there, and now that people are demanding it to sacrifice at 23 cents, the amount of tokens that I have and the amount of value that it has, it's a massive amount of gains that I'm projecting to have. So I'm going a little harder for Pulse X. So anyway, do you guys have any questions about it before I show you how to do it as far as the proper way to do it?
Yeah. Claudia, did you do it? You
She said
did?
27 or 28.
I did not sacrifice because the sacrifice
Ah.
just started, so that it's not.
Oh.
But I
Or
bought
today.
It
yeah.
just
hours
started
ago.
today, so you did it
Couple hours
today,
ago.
Carlos? Okay,
No, I
when's
haven't.
the
It
No,
has.
I haven't done it yet because I bought $100,000 of hex today.
There's
But
only certain there's
it
only
keeps-
certain tokens that you can sacrifice that are on
yeah,
the
yeah.
list.
But
Yeah.
when you
the-
say the fees are going to be smaller on the new ecosystem, is it going to be like half, or do you know, or is it going to be like Harmony where it's like a tenth of a cent or kind of thing?
yeah, it's like a couple pennies.
So more like a Binance Smart Chain.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm still a little confused how the liquidity works. If it's really sitting, I don't know. I'm a little confused, but I'm sure once you go through it, I'll pick it up. But that's a lot.
liquidity-
You must have a lot of confidence in this project, Carlos, if you're investing so much.
Yeah, I do. And since Hex, I've been really confident on all of that. I have written it up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's like I said, one of the main factors of that is that it's immutable code, and there's a lot of like bad rep of it, and there's good rep about it. People are going to make their own mind about it, but at the same time, it has worked out excellently for me, and I have made tons of money with it. So
What has been your return on your investment in Hex?
about 50x.
Wow. And
Yeah.
but you've been in it since the beginning.
No.
No?
I was in it maybe by the beginning of the year, maybe a little bit, like maybe February, March, something like that.
If you would have been in it from the beginning, you would have done 10,000x.
Yeah, that's a
and-
1 million. That's a 1 million% increase.
What's your average volume at 1 cent?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Where do you guys find these projects so early, and how do you like get the confidence and understand them and know how long to hold it, all that kind of stuff? Like, where's the origin of the investment?
Well, you asked a couple of things in there, but as far as how do you find them? Well, for example, I find them by educating myself on certain ecosystems. So I'm very big on the parachain auctions for Polkadot, and I educate myself on all these different projects as far as who's backing them up, who are the VCs, what type of technology they're bringing into the ecosystem, my own decisions and projections as far as, like in a 1 year term or 2 year term or 3 year term, as far as whether it's going to be exposed in a good, significant manner to the public, and do they have a good marketing team, like, and are they adding really value into the ecosystem? So therefore, I have been participating on the Kusama parachain auctions and the Polkadot parachain auctions as an early investor, for me to get all these early tokens on projects that within a 1 year period, they're going to go ahead and do multiples. So for example, like just on Karura, we've done a 10x. With Calamari, when he launched, we did a 3x. So all these different things, I have created myself as far as the investor profile as someone that invests early on projects and very long term. So one of the key factors in your mindset for you to find these sort of projects is for you to switch it from short-term investing and trading to educating yourself in ecosystems and being aware of all these different projects that are probably going to be very or they're going to be pillars into certain ecosystems, so you can be able to participate in these projects and be able to have very big balls to just hold off for a very, very long time, for you to not be incentivized to sell very quickly. So like today, I'm looking at my Hex portfolio and I'm just like, I literally made like $50,000 today. So, I wanna go ahead and sell. But luckily I have some of it locked and some of it liquid. And I'm also expecting for me to sacrifice quite a lot of that Hex that I made today, for example, into PulseX. And therefore, when PulseX launches, then therefore the incentive to hold that token for even a longer period of time will also serve me. So I look at different patterns as far as the projects and what other projects have done in the past to see whether I want to go into those projects or not.
What's your average hold time? Let's say, like, you get in something early.
I mean, right now, I guess average is like 2 years.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Do you
Yeah.
ever sell or do you just take profits and keep them in back?
I only sell interest, from the ones I'm producing. So I have certain stakes expiring, and let's say that stake expired and the capital that I put in there is 100,000, but the interest is like 70,000. Then I'll probably sell the 70. Like I'm trying to buy a Patek Philippe, so it's like 230,000. So I'm like selling a couple of things here and there just so I could buy myself a watch. So maybe just an interest. But that's about it. I still have other sources of income, so I try not to sell my investments at all.
Cool. Awesome.
Let's see it.
My Patek or
Yeah, show us how to make money with this what's it called again?
How do we
Sacrifice?
Yeah.
Sacrifice?
Yeah, the sacrifice phase. So basically, this is you participating into an ICO where you're gonna go ahead and send your money, then without the expectation of anything in return, right? Like that's the whole legality of it. Then there's gonna be a list or an update saying that you've allocated certain amount of things into Pulse. So I'll show you guys how it looks like. Hey, Bobby, do you know if I can share my screen or?
You should be able to.
Okay, so this is a Patek I'm trying to buy. This one right here.
Nice.
Nice.
Beautiful.
All right, so basically the way that it works, I'm gonna go ahead and let me open up I have this wallet right here, which one of the things, I'm gonna copy this. One of the things that you guys are gonna notice here is that this is the origin address that is being used for the sacrifice of PulseX. So as you guys can see, there's already been $22 million being sacrificed just in Hex, which is about let me actually refresh this. Yeah, 71 million Hex, or $24 million of Hex has already been sacrificed just within a couple hours. And 4 million of $5 million in stable coins, 3 million in USDC, 700,000 in USDT, and then just this BS, wrap Bitcoin, and then Shiba Inu, whatever. Now, there are some coins that are not accepted. So like today in the morning, there is this, for example, the Hokkaido Inu. It was worth $3 billion. But one of the things here is that you cannot sacrifice just any coin. You cannot just, since this is just an origin address and you can just send anything to this address, people are going to think that they can just send anything they want and be able to receive something in return. And that's not the case. All these different investments like Hokkaido Inu, Kishu Inu are not going to count for the sacrifice. These are just, and especially because they did something to the code, and this was worth $3 billion a few hours ago. So when that happened, they were like, "Oh shit, what's going on?" It was this coin is a scam, and they modified something to show that it was a 3 billion, so they can account for a 3 billion contribution to PulseX sacrifice. But we have certain coins that we can sacrifice. Pulse chain. .info. So the same coins that we sacrifice for the Pulse chain network are going to be the ones that we're going to be able to sacrifice for PulseX. Let's see if that launches.
So would this be something that you would hold for 2 years, like around 18 months, 2 years?
Is this something that like Pulse Chain or Pulse X?
Pulse X, Pulse Chain, either one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really planning to let go of any of these assets due to the fact that there's also a project called Liquid Pulse that is launching on the Pulse network that is going to be liquid loans, meaning that you could put in your Pulse as collateral and you can get the loans from it if I need some sort of liquidity for that. It's not, I don't need the money right now, unless I find some sort of asset that is either going to increase in value a lot higher than what my investment is, or that asset is going to give me some sort of cash flow like real estate. So up until that point, then I'll probably start moving things around, but it's not something that I'm planning to sell. It's not like, oh, let me just capture gains real quick just because this might actually dump. No. Like, you are an early investor. You're here for the long run. If you need some sort of liquidity, just go ahead and use that. But it's not something that you're looking to get into with a short-term mindset.
Got it.
Yeah. So
Carlos, the way I understand it is with that Pulse X is going to be a token that is then you can make money with on the new Pulse chain, right? I mean, that is not something that you necessarily want to sell for just because it increases in price. It's something that will yield.
You're going to be able to farm with, right? You're going to be able to farm it. Yeah. So, like, for example, me, that I have an allocation of Pulse chain tokens already, I could actually stake that, or I could actually put it up for liquidity with like the pairing of Pulse chain token with my Pulse X token. I could provide liquidity to it in an LP pool with, in the new Uniswap fork on Pulse X, and make fees from that. So therefore, like a percentage on that, as if I was yield farming. I don't know what the percentage are going to be. I mean, the market is going to determine the amounts, but I'm still not going to do that. Maybe. I mean, I'm moving away from active trading or active yield farming to just my long-term holds and making sure that my investments are appreciating over time. But you can definitely do that. Like I said, I'm not really planning to sell. So a lot of people are thinking about providing liquidity, but that's not my plan.
But you would stake it, right, and just leave it? No, you just let it sit there. Wait,
I'll probably sell some. I'll probably sell a lot. Like, I'm estimating my Pulse chain to, I mean, it sounds insane, but I'm really estimating within a year to have about $40 million on the Pulse chain as far as tokens. That really would go into purchasing more HEX on the Pulse network for me to create staking ladders, for me to then earn more interest under HEX, but under the Pulse chain network. So at the same time, I'd be pumping my own bags. If I got millions of tokens on Pulse chain, if I sell those with people coming in, then I could just go ahead and pump my own bag, because I already have HEX, so I can pump my own bags and increase the value of all the different investments that I have. So I could probably do that, sell some HEX, or actually get a loan. Instead of selling my Pulse, get a liquid loan from my Pulse tokens and use that loan to purchase more HEX and stake it over a period of time so I could get more interest. So that would be something that I'm planning to do, but I'm very concerned with securities, right? With security on the network. So I don't know what platforms are going to be offered to do stakings. I'm not planning to give my tokens to anybody. And I'm just very secure about it. Okay.
And what Carlos is saying is what a lot of the people in the HEX network are doing, because a lot of those people are already super rich because of what HEX has done to them. So they're just staking this money just to really support whatever Richard Hurtis projects he puts out there. And yeah. I think and none of them need to ever sell these bags. That's what I'm getting. I mean, of course, there will be people, and there's new people like me to HEX. When I see $40 million, I'm definitely going to sell something of this. But but most of them already have these ridiculous amounts of money. They're all just like hanging out on YouTube, it seems like. And there's this whole group from Germany just touring through the United States, onboarding people just for the heck of it, because they have nothing better to do with their time, because they just don't need to ever work. And they're all like 15 years old or something like that.
You only sell what you need, you know, like,
yeah.
And like, for example, people like me that I have a job, you know, and I'm not planning to quit my job or do anything. I got companies. Like, why even sell my investments that are actually giving me multiples and appreciating assets? You know, it doesn't really make any sense.
Okay, so what's the timeline for this? Can you tell me, like, if I'm totally new and I wanted to, what's my first step? Like, what do I do? I think this is the truth. I think I want to do this. So what do I do?
Okay. What you have to do is basically make sure that the token you're going to send, it's compatible with the sacrifice. So I'm going to show you guys what tokens are compatible with the sacrifice here.
Okay.
The same tokens that were compatible with the Pulse chain sacrifice are compatible with the Pulse X sacrifice. So all you got to do is connect your wallet to make sure that it's an ERC, that it recognizes basically what type of sacrifice you're doing. So once you go ahead and connect your wallet, let me move that.
And you have to go to like Chainlist to get this different like network added, or no? Is this a Ethereum mainnet?
Yeah, no, it's not on the Ethereum. Pulse chain is basically, you're gonna go ahead and do a new network to be able to see the Pulse chain in your MetaMask. So
do you use Chainlist?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, does Chainlist have the Pulse?
Not yet, because it's not launched on mainnet.
Okay, so where do you get the information to add the network?
Well, you get it on the GitLab on GitLab. So you have to. You can go ahead and add the network already, but it's only going to be at a testnet level. So you have to be a little bit advanced into how to get all those different things, and you get it on GitLab. GitLab Pulse chain. And the group information. No, I don't know. I haven't done it. So, but I know that you can get it from here.
Well, how did you do the Pulse? How did you do the sacrifice that you already did?
Didn't do yet.
Oh, you haven't.
No, I haven't explained it yet. But this is the way you do it. You connect your wallet here, and then you select the network in which you're planning to send the tokens. So if you're planning to send tokens from your Binance network or from Ethereum network or from Bitcoin Cash or whatever it is that you're planning to send it from, you go ahead and select whatever token it is that you're going to go ahead and send. So let's just say that you are planning to send it from Ethereum. Then these are the available tokens that you're able, the ERC20 tokens that you're able to send. So you can send basically crypto.com or Compound or DAI or Maker or Hex. Basically, all these ones are the approved tokens that you can send from your ERC20 token wallet. You cannot send Shiba Inu. You cannot, or maybe it is.
I saw it on there.
Yeah. Shiba Inu is allowed. But the other Inus, the other dog coins are probably not going to be approved. So once you go ahead and find that your desirable token is something that you can send, let's just say that in this wallet right here that I showed you guys, I have like $15,000 in Hex, right? So if I wanted to send this Hex right here, all I got to do is make sure that it's compatible. Okay, yes, it's compatible. And therefore it gives me the sacrifice address here. It says your sacrifice to the address below. All you got to do is just copy that address, and it's basically just a regular send. So you're going to go ahead and go into your MetaMask. You're going to go into send. You're literally going to put the address there. You're going to select the token that you want to send. And then you would just go ahead and put your available balance in there. You click next. And it's literally like you're sending money to the address. So,
but it doesn't have to be in MetaMask though. You could do it like from, it accepts all coins. So, right, you can do it from any
You cannot do it from an
Exchange.
exchange. No, you cannot do it from an exchange.
Oh, it does have to be on MetaMask then. Okay.
It does have to. Well, it's an any
Trust
wallet
wallet or
address. Yeah, any wallet address that that you own, that you hold the keys for, because
Gotcha.
because like imagine if you're doing a straight send, where are they going to send what the address or the tokens to when it's a big exchange that receives everything? Unless there's a memo, then you could be doing it, but I just don't recommend for you to do that due to the fact that there's so many complications in sending it from an exchange. So I recommend that if you have anything on the Binance Smart Chain and you have it on Binance, the exchange, Binance.com or Binance.us, then for you to then add the network into your MetaMask and then send the tokens into your MetaMask to then do the sacrifice and directly send it from a wallet address that you completely own the keys to. So once you've already done that, which for example, out of these wallet address that I showed you guys, I went ahead and participating on a small portion of my sacrifice. Where do I check now? Up until this point that they've done the allocation of tokens, where do I go into like checking all that? So there's appx.windcharts.
Is this place where you're checking going to be associated somehow to you?
To me? No, this is
Correct.
basically the back end. This is the back end of Hex as far as all the statistics of the Hex network. So since blockchain is open and transparent, this website basically grabs all the transactions and all the information that we have from Hex and basically puts it in graph form for you to be able to educate yourself on liquidity, on T-share pricing, on payouts per shares, on stakes, ending all the way until year 2037. Yeah, basically you see all the backend just because it's public information. So the allocation of Pulse tokens is also public information. If you guys copy my wallet address, you guys see how much I sacrifice on that specific wallet address and how much Pulse tokens I've been allocated to. So if I now then, after having done the sacrifice for Pulse chain, then you guys can see here that I say click search. There is a PLS allocation to this address of 97,185 tokens that I've sacrificed out of this wallet address. But the key here is that, and if this is trading already, if people are buying Pulse tokens at 23 cents, you guys do the math on that. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that the allocation will be done after. So once you've done your sacrifice, it'll show just as a regular transaction from your MetaMask to the sacrificing address. The sacrificing address is a very specific one. If you guys want to look it up, the address has been posted on Richard Hart's Twitter account, which is this official one ending in DDC8. So if you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and copy it for you guys to have the right address. And you guys can verify before you send anything, make sure that you guys are verifying that this is the actual sacrificing address where basically all these tokens are being sent to. You guys will see $25 million and all that kind of stuff as far as what's being sent to the sacrificing address. Am I sharing my screen? No, I'm not sharing my screen. In this basically you guys are making sure that you guys have all these tokens in there. So I'm gonna put it in the chat so you guys can double check that you guys are sending it to the right place. There is no website yet. So basically what you guys,
Picture that.
people are just FOMOing into this shit right now, which I don't recommend for people to do. As we had an official sacrifice phase for Pulse, we're supposed to have also an official sacrifice website for PulseX for people to make it, to be able to connect their wallet and make sure that they're selecting the right ERC20 token. You don't necessarily need to do that. You can just send it directly to that wallet address that I just sent you guys. And you guys will then be allocated a certain amount of PulseX tokens, which will then launch at mainnet with Pulse Chain, which will be within a period of 2 months or so. You guys will know how much in PulseX tokens you guys are going to go ahead and get. at the moment that they basically finalize the sacrifice phase, which is probably going to do, I mean, it's probably going to be like 9 days after the 10th of January, because technically the sacrifice phase was supposed to start on January 10th. But they open it right now because there is certain people in the Hex community that was just super antsy about doing the sacrifice already, because Hex has been pumping quite a lot for, within the last 2 weeks. We went from 10 cents all the way to 35 cents today. So obviously the bags that people have and that have held from 10 cents basically just a couple of weeks ago have basically tripled, and therefore they would like to send some sort of sacrifice as far as the value that they have, right? So people are just purchasing a bunch of Hex right now, and that's why we're seeing the pump because of the sacrifice phase, because they want to go ahead and take Hex out of circulation to send it to this origin address, because this origin address is never going to go ahead and sell the Hex. So as we send all these Hex into the sacrificing address, we take it out of circulation, meaning that there's less selling pressure, more opportunity for the pump. So we're going to continue to see a pump within the next couple weeks, maybe. That's basically what we saw. And the post-chain sacrifice phase, we went from 5 cents all the way to 15 to 18 cents or so. In this case, we're seeing a big pump right now, but it's basically the same thing. It's just basically due to the fact that there's a sacrifice phase and people want to account for a higher dollar value on the sacrifice that they're making, right? If you buy $10,000 in Hex and then suddenly it pumps by tomorrow, obviously your sacrifice is going to account for more due to the fact that it has a bigger USD value. So that's why the explanation of the Hex pump that you guys are seeing right now. And the way to sacrifice literally is super simple. From your MetaMask wallet, you send the desirable tokens that you're sacrificing into that wallet address. And to explain why it's happening so soon and why we don't have an official site is because people were trying to get rid of their losing positions or sell their losing positions right now due to the fact that we're very close to the year end. So as you record losses, obviously those losses are going to go ahead and help out on the capital gain that we're having with all these other assets too. So therefore they wanted to launch sacrifice phase before the year end. And that's why we're seeing that there's $27 million in Hex, just purely Hex, just being sacrificed so far. So any questions?
You recommend buying Hex and then sacrificing Hex because you think the price is going to go up, so therefore it'll be worth more. And then when is the valuation? Is it going to be like right when it ends, and then the airdrop is determined on the price at that time, or?
No, the sacrifice value, basically what you're sacrificing is based on your USD value at the moment of sacrifice. So if you wanted to sacrifice USD, if you wanted to sacrifice $10,000 USD, literally your sacrifice is only $10,000. If you buy Hex right now, you buy $10,000 in Hex, and you basically wait for it to pump a little bit more. Obviously, it's speculative, but basically that's a behavior that we saw on the last sacrifice. But if you wanted to wait for a little pump, then your $10,000 investment would be worth now, let's say $11,000 or $12,000, and therefore, at the moment that you send that Hex into the sacrifice address, then it records it at $12,000. But let's say that Hex keeps pumping, will your sacrifice then be worth more? No, it's at the moment that you sacrifice, it records a USD value. And it also does the same thing as far as if it goes down, right? You send your Hex right now at 35 cents. And let's say that within the next week, then we see lots of selling pressure, and we see the price going down to 25 cents. Then you got recorded at the 35-cent value instead of at the 25-cent, right? So it's at the moment of sacrifice, the USD value that it records. Mm-hmm. And there's a volume multiplier of 2.5x. So the reason that in that specific wallet I got 95 million tokens was due to the fact that there was a volume multiplier that gave me that many tokens. for the sacrifice. But obviously at the mainnet launch, when it's available for sale, you're gonna be able to only buy a certain amount with no multiplier, obviously.
So, go ahead, Laura. Do you have another question?
So we've totally missed the first one, right? That's what you're saying, the Pulse, and then now all our opportunity is in just the Pulse X, if we wanted to participate.
Yeah, your opportunity is only for Pulse X, which is a Uniswap of the Pulse chain network.
I got it.
So can I ask for clarification? I'm definitely coming from, anyway, I'm just gonna ask for clarification. So there is a cutoff for this, right? You're saying January 10th?
No, that's when it's supposedly going to start. As in January 9th or 10th, I believe, basically you get $1 for dollar on the 10,000 multiplier or points. They call it sacrificing points. You get 10,000 points per dollar that you sacrifice. So that's basically, and the more points that you get for the sacrifice, the bigger the multiplier is, and it's based on volume. So if you sacrifice $1 million, you're gonna more than likely get the 2.5 multiplier, meaning that you're gonna get 2.5 times the amount of Pulse chain tokens that you were supposed to get. And the smaller the amount that you sacrifice, then the less of a multiplier you get. It's a weighted volume type of multiplier. So therefore, at the beginning of the sacrifice phase, which is January 9th or 10th, then your dollar value for sacrifice points will go lower and lower. So January 9th, you're gonna get 1 for 1 as far as the sacrifice points, 10,000 for $1. And then the next day, for example, on the 11th, then you're gonna go ahead and get only, let's say 9,000 points per $1, and then 6,000 points, and there's 7,000 points, and then 1,000 points, up until the point that there's a cutoff, which for the Pulse chain was about 9 days after the initial sacrifice phase. So I would assume that by the 19th or 20th of January, then the cutoff of sacrifice would end, just as it did for Pulse chain. So people that are, it's an open address, right? You can always send money to that address. And people that are still trying to participate on the sacrifice for Pulse chain, they are being completely diluted, meaning that if you send money to that address that I give you guys the example, you would get Pulse at 23 cents, which is complete BS. It's a 2000x dilution from what we got it on the sacrifice phase. So there's a lot of stupid people still sending money for the Pulse chain sacrifice, and they're gonna get a minuscule portion of Pulse when they could have just bought it at mainnet at a lot cheaper price. So it's important to know the dates for sacrifice, which is basically starting today, all the way until like January 20th. So there's plenty of time for you guys to do your research on the project, PulseX, for you guys to look at. Usually you get educated on the live streams that Richard does. He's very knowledgeable when it comes to all this different things, but you have a lot of time to educate yourself and see whether you want to participate on the PulseX sacrifice phase or not.
How do you determine the price difference between the current sacrifice price for Pulse chain and then the mainnet price? Like, how do you know where that's going to come in, or do you not really know?
Well, we don't. Market is going to discover that. Once mainnet launches, then basically it's going to be up for sale. And I don't know who's going to be selling, because one of the major things that we're receiving with this airdrop is that the airdrop will be worth 0. So it's built into the algorithm that all these Pulse tokens that I just showed you from my wallet are going to be, it is programmed into the software that Pulse tokens are worth 0 for the first 3 days of launch. So no one is going to be selling, their tokens at all at $0. That doesn't make any freaking sense. But the reason that we did that, or that Richard is doing that, is because for taxation purposes, you get an airdrop. You have to pay taxes on as if it was income at the fair market value of the tokens. So if you get Bitcoin right now as an airdrop, you're gonna go ahead and pay taxes on the amount of that. Even though you're not selling the token, you're paying taxes as if it was income. So the fact that we're getting the Pulse chain tokens at zero value alleviates a lot of pressure from us, because then we have a zero value on our tokens for the airdrop, and we only pay taxes when we sell the token. So as far as, distinguishing the value of Pulse chain at launch, we know for a fact that it will be $0. And then from there, we make multiples basically, because then the price point starts from 0 all the way to, whatever price point we want, as far as the market trying to buy the token in itself. So that's my answer to that. We don't know what the value will be for mainnet.
Okay, thanks. That's
Carlos, I
awesome.
got a quick question. Do you recommend selling some of your tokens and buying that hex versus sacrificing tokens that that are on the list?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be really up to you. I would say that because there's many strategies for people. So like people keep talking about the sacrificing strategy for them. One of the main things that I have told because I'm a tech strategist too, as far as my background, I run an accounting firm. So one of the main things is that I would sell all your losing positions right now if you no longer desire to hold them, and then sacrifice the USD value of that into that, so you can record the losses and also be able to sacrifice that USD. That's one portion as far as the strategy. The second strategy is what I've been basically doing. What I've been doing with a lot of the people here in the chat that have been getting into Hex is to DCA into Hex, so you can go ahead and take advantage of the pump for you to be able to sacrifice more of a USD value when it comes to Hex. And at the same time, if you're a Hex holder, sacrificing Hex is the best thing that you can do. As far as, let's say, the reason I bought 50K of Hex today was because, not because I want to sacrifice my holdings, my long-term holdings of Hex, but because I want to take more Hex out of circulation. So there's less selling pressure for Hex. Now, 50K is probably not going to do shit. We're talking about that the slippage starts at 2% when you're purchasing $2 million in Hex, as far as moving the price point by 2%, so it's really not that much of a difference. But when you're collectively doing it 50K at a time or $100,000 at a time with 1,000 people, which is basically what you can find, then you definitely move the price. And that's what you see. If you check the price right now on Hex, you're going to be able to see massive pump today, and there's a green ass bar this big, for just a few hours since the sacrifice started. So I would say that if you want to use that as a strategy, that's also a pretty good strategy that has worked out.
Okay, thank you.
So are you holding your Hex to do it? I mean, maybe I misunderstood something, but it sounded like over time it goes down. Like you want to get in on the sacrifice as soon as possible, right? Because don't you get more? And
yeah, but you have until January 10th to get that much.
I know,
more.
but I don't want to my sacrifice amount of points to dwindle, right? Don't I want to try to do it?
Yeah, it'll start dwindling down after January 10th.
Oh, after January 10th. Okay. And then what's this guy's name? Richard Hart. Sorry, I don't follow him. I'm not in Hex yet. HART?
Yeah, here, Richard Hart.
I can't. I didn't see him.
Richard Hart.
Oh, HER. That's why I was spelling it like a normal person.
He's a bit of a character. He's quite a bit of a character. People either like him, love him, or really, really dislike him. But he's very smart. If you kind of move away from the reading of his characters and you actually pay attention to the knowledge, you'll truly be educated on crypto. Everything that I have shared with you guys from the beginning, and the reason that I know so much about banking and all that is literally listening to his live streams and educating myself. So
what's his YouTube? Oh, live streams from Twitter?
He live streams from YouTube. Yeah,
and he had 2 good live streams over Christmas, which are very good to watch. If you want,
okay, I'll go back and watch them.
If you want to understand anything about Hex or Pulse X or Pulse Chain, basically explains it all in there, and
very technical too about the LPs.
Did you buy any, Claudia? Are you in Hex now too?
Yeah.
You are.
Yes. Yes,
At
and
first
then-
you were like, I don't know. We were both like, this sounds like a Ponzi scheme. You know, we were back and forth.
Because the thing to me was, I mean, I obviously listened to all this stuff from all these hacks, and what I really like about it is, first of all, it has this guy, Richard Hart there, which seems like the smartest person I've ever listened to in my life. I mean, this guy knows his shit, and he knows everything about cryptocurrency because he's been there from the very beginning. He's been there.
He was a miner of Bitcoin.
He was miner, yes. He mined 50,000 Bitcoin a day or so. He doesn't need he doesn't need anybody's money. All he wants is, because he's super rich. Let's say like this. He's super rich, but what's it good for if you're super rich and the world around you is shit? Doesn't give you, and that really spoke to me because I lived in Africa, I lived in Lagos. And it doesn't matter if I'm rich and I step outside the door and I have to step over some garbage heaps and over some starving kids. It doesn't one bit make my life good that I'm rich, okay? So this was the message that really sold me, because I can kind of understand him where he's coming from. He can buy all the Louis Vuitton bags and whatever crazy outfits and live in his castle, but he has to come out. You know, he has to come out and walk on the streets and go and meet normal people. And so he wants to build this community where everybody is well off. And he built this huge Hex community that are all rich now, and they all want to make the world a better place. And I think it's a beautiful concept. I mean, for nothing else but help the next person next to you to also get independently wealthy, and just find your little niche where you can help. Everybody can help in a different way, right? And so that to me is a powerful message. It's not somebody who needs my money. He doesn't need my money, but he builds different, and he wants to build a ecosystem that basically serves everything, from the fiat on-ramp to my yield farming to my whatever I want to do.
And everything without keys, without admin keys, everything without having some sort of access from the developers into the code. So it's completely mutable code, completely secure, 100% running time as far as it going down. And we don't have any issues with the Matic bridges or any of this BS where they can just pull liquidity or invalidate transactions like USDC and USDT. So, there's tons of different things that when you get educated on the sort of technology that he's building, you kind of move away from all the BS that people, throw at you, or that, people try to make it, and you really get to what really is important in crypto, which is being the holder of your keys, never giving it away, even giving control of, like, if you wanted to stake it, never giving it to a certain platform that has now your crypto, and it's their crypto now because they hold the keys to the wallets. So all the technology here is all about no admin keys and always holding your tokens, and they're always in your power. So we're getting into like all these other things, with liquidity providing, and now there's a whole network coming up, and there's all these different issues that are probably going to be coming up, but at the same time, it's with the type of community that is building, or that we support, basically these projects is really something that has me very turned on. And at the same time, it's been one of the biggest investments that I have in my bags. The reason that I have what I have as far as crypto is because of Hex. So really, I'm completely biased when it comes to this, due to the fact that I've made most of my money with Hex, and therefore I'm so encouraging for people to do it too, because I've seen the difference that he has made on my mom. I've seen the difference that he has made on all the people that worked, that I created retirement plans for, and all the people that I have basically told them about Hex. They've all been well taken care of, I guess. And they're basically,
sorry, I was researching it today, and it said it had an $80 billion market cap. You think it could still go?
Well, market cap has nothing to do with the pricing action. Market cap is literally circulating supply times price. It's a bullshit number that people try to measure as far as how far a project can go, and it really doesn't have to do anything with it. So circulating supply is literally the whatever circulating supply we have times price. So I could put in 1 trillion supply on a crypto right now, and I could literally sell it. Hey, Keith, do you want to buy this crypto for $1? And then I have $1 trillion market cap. Literally, it's a multiplication of circulating supply times price, which is no indicator at all on how well a project can be, is doing, or how high it can go. So market cap is not something that you want to measure a project by.
Got it.
I don't know if
Carlos had a couple quick questions. So one, are they going to airdrop once they have IDO'd, or as they IDO, or prior to?
They airdrop at the launch of mainnet. So they basically just give you the allocation of tokens. They tell you, like I showed you on that website, where it gives me the allocation of Pulse tokens that I have on that specific wallet. Mm-hmm. I only know the allocation, but I haven't received my tokens yet until mainnet. So once mainnet launches and I add the network into my MetaMask wallet, then I will be able to see the tokens that in my MetaMask wallet, but only at mainnet.
Cool.
Can you give us, or is there, how do we sacrifice through the PulseX? How do we do it?
I just showed you.
But that was the Pulse chain, right?
Yeah, but here on here there's a sacrifice address for PulseX.
Okay.
Right here, and all you do is just go to your MetaMask.
Right.
And then just click send, and then send it through there. And I also put the sacrifice address into the chat, so you double check on the sacrificing address.
Or you can just wait a day or two, and somebody in that Hex community will make a how to sacrifice for PulseX video, and you just follow it. There will every
That's so true. I'm sure there's one right now already.
Yeah, there's already, like, the hexologist already. Look at that. Anyway, there's a video already. I'll put the link right now into, please retweet.
Thanks, guys. I gotta go.
Take
See you
care,
guys
David.
next week.
Thanks, David. See you later.
Bye, David.
Carlos,
Oh, wait, David. Oh, shoot. I wanted to tell him this drip is blowing up all over my DAO sites. Everyone's like, what about drip? What about drip? Anyway, whatever. Tell him next week, I guess. I was going to ask him to refer me, but
You did
Hey,
last
Carlos,
time.
quick question about.
I have his referral link. If
Yeah.
you want it, I can send it to you.
did you, and you did it, Claudia, or no?
No, here's the thing. Why I love Hex. I am on Binance. I'm trying for the last 2 weeks to transfer BNB to my MetaMask wallet, and they just block it. They're just like, oh, there is a problem. Sorry. Talk to customer service. I'm like, okay. So I send them email after email after email.
No, on Binance, on regular Binance?
Binance US, not Binance.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You cannot do Binance anymore from the US, I guess.
No, I know. I was just going to say you have to chat with them live. Because I had 50 grand stuck in Binance. They found out I was from the United States. Long story, I lost my phone. Anyway, I had to
No, it's the
anyway, but you have to chat with them.
It's the crappiest platform. I hate everything Binance US. Anyway, so I wanted to start the strip thing about 2 weeks ago, and I can't because the BNB that I bought is sitting in Binance, and I can't get it out. I don't know how to do with it. But I have all the information, and I can send it to you. He gave it to me.
Why don't you trade it? Why don't you just sell it for dollars? Can you get it back to your bank account if you sell it for dollars?
Yeah, and then and then I buy BNB somewhere else.
Go buy Hex. Listen to Carlos. Wait 10 minutes. Buy Hex.
No, just sacrifice it from the address. You just sacrifice it. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's inside the exchange. You just don't do
You
it.
can't
from
get
the
it to our
exchange.
MetaMask.
I can't get it out of the Binance
US.
exchange. Yeah.
Well, the thing. Oh, you can't get it out. So not even to any address. You cannot even. Damn, that really sucks.
Yeah, it just sits there. And
Yeah,
and the customer service is not responding. I'm literally sending them an email.
That's why we have to stay completely decentralized. This
Yeah,
is the type of
that's-
shit.
They're the worst. Yeah. Binance.us, yeah, they suck.
And
I hate that.
every account is like that. And Coinbase is like, oh, because this is a new address on the whitelist, now you have to wait 3 days or something
Yeah.
bullshit like that. I mean, always every exchange has some other BS. When it's time for me to give them my money, everything works like 100% quick, right? And then when I want to get my money back, it's like, oh wait.
Yeah. There's also the problem. They have frozen my funds for a ton of times on exchanges, and that's why, you know, now all the trades that I do is just like completely decentralized.
DeFi.
But where is your fiat on ramp on the decentralized?
There's a couple.
Coinbase.
No, well,
For me, that's what I use. It's my only thing that works.
But that's not decentralized.
Well, matcha.
My on ramp. That's the only way I can get money on there.
Carlos is telling you.
Now, matcha.xyz has a new way for you to actually do fiat on ramp into like with credit card. Yeah. So just look it up on there. So you just
and then the other way, the off ramp, they put it on my credit card. Or how does that?
That's expensive fees, though, Carlos. Right?
Yeah, that's why we.
Yeah,
Yeah, those expensive. But if you already have an exchange that really works for on fiat, you know, like if that doesn't work, then I usually use Coinbase Pro.
I have Coinbase Pro. I'm just saying, like the BNB, I can't buy that, and for drip you need BNB. Oh, I don't know. I was like, sucks. Anyway, I wanted to do Hex. I did Hex. I wanted to do Wonderland. I did Wonderland. I wanted to do drip, and I can't do drip. So whatever. 2 out of 3 worked.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do the sacrifice regardless.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely gonna do a sacrifice, especially because like why worry about having some sort of like 15% gains, 20% gains, 50% gain, even 100% gains. Like right now, when it has proven to when you participate in initial offerings such as this one, like with Hex or Pulse Chain, to give you a nice sizable return on your investment, right? So really if PancakeSwap did a 200x within 7 months, which was a fork of Uniswap, and any other fork that has come out from Uniswap has done more than 200x over a period of 1 year, like what else can you expect on a better Uniswap fork that has lower fees for the users and that is providing half of the liquidity for the LPs? So this is definitely like one project that I'm like, why are you not doing it? But obviously I'm not gonna be so passionate with people like smacking them in the head, to do it. But I wish I could. And doing that with basically my whole family and myself. But I'm basically just putting I'm putting my money where my mouth is. So I'm literally sacrificing, I'm thinking 50,000, but if my other investment works out and if Hex keeps pumping within the next couple of weeks, I'm probably going to do another 50.
So do you think that will be enough? Like, what do you think the bottom threshold will be to get the 2.5x multiplier?
Well, the 2.5 multiplier is by volume, weighted by volume. So you would have to, like, for example, there's already whales, sacrificing just by today, like a couple million. You would have to be above them to receive the 2.5 multiplier.
So how'd you get it with just 100,000?
Well, you don't get the full 2.5. You get a diluted multiplier based on weight. So if my sacrifice is 100,000, I will probably only get a 1.2 multiplier instead of a 2.5 due to the fact that there is bigger whales that have sacrificed. Like just my friend, it's just today he sacrificed $150,000, and that was just because his stake expired. Like, oh yeah, I have one stake expiring $150,000 today. I'm just gonna sacrifice that. And I was like, well, how much are you planning to sacrifice?
Must be nice.
Yeah, and well, he's planning to sacrifice a lot more. a lot. Like
Okay,
that.
so now I know you're big into and Wonderland and stuff like that too, and I know that pretty much I think
I sacrificed
most of us here
I-
are in Wonderland too. So
I sold all that shit today.
I was gonna ask you, I'm getting a little I'm worried about the
I was pissed off.
inflationary aspect of it. I'm very worried about it. And I mean, I've taken some profits, but I'm starting to lose my enthusiasm for it. And I'm a little bit worried because I had to actually private chat with the calculator guy. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's like a genius. And he makes these amazing calculators. And he told me privately, because I asked him like why you're so bearish on DAOs, and I said all DAOs, even time, and the best DAO out there. And he's like, yeah, he's like, my trading signals has been on sell for a month now, and their inflationary aspects are just going to kill him. And now I feel bad because I've like literally helped out like everybody in here like buy it, and like now I'm like, oh shit, was that a bad move? And maybe should we look into getting out of it and doing something like this, or would you just keep a moon bag in it? You said you sold all of it, or yeah, why?
Yeah, I sold all of it because I'm planning to sacrifice that I'm planning to buy Hex with all the things that I had with the DAOs. At the same time, I made the decision too because I know that maybe the DAOs will come back up at a certain point. Like for example, it's kind of just floating around $350, $400 or so. So at this point, I had lost in just Olympus DAO, I lost like $20,000, and $20,000 in Hex. It was this morning. I purchased, I think, just for the I had it was 24,000 that I cashed out from today. And when I did that, that was a big loss that I was taking, but I was already pissed off. I don't want to wait for the DAOs to go back up, or to even let's say that they went to $1,000. Like I would make a pretty nice double my money to like $70,000. But why would I wait to do that? My opportunity cost, the reason that I did that, and this is the real reason, the opportunity cost of the sacrifice for PulseX is many, many more multiples rather than waiting for the DAO to come back up. So sacrificing the DAO money that I had in time and and any other investments.
Did you get into Jade, or no, you missed it, huh?
Somebody's got to go to the bathroom.
No, I don't. I didn't get into Jade.
You're
like I said,
so lucky.
Yeah,
they rug pulled.
The rug pull, Jade rug pull.
Yeah, they're just scammers, and they're total liars, and
Wait, is Wonderland a scam? Is it out?
No, Wonderland is not a scam. No, Jade. There was another protocol that I know Carlos had mentioned that he was going to get into. And I luckily started seeing the forest for the trees. And some people were saying that they're a scam and they were behind another rug. And once I heard that they were behind another rug called Smart Coin, I pulled my money out and I actually made some money off of it, but it wasn't. Yeah,
but I pull all my money from the DAOs due to the fact that.
So would you suggest that I do that? I have a lot of money in Wonderland, like a lot.
Well, I'm not going to suggest for you to do anything. I'm just going to tell you that the opportunity cost for me, as far as my personal opinion, is that if the forks of Uniswap have proven to do a 200x within a 7-month period, then and Pulse Chain has so much backing from the community and everywhere that you could actually see it, you can only assume that it will do similar. And even if you were to cut it in half at 100x, that's still the opportunity cost of you doing that instead of waiting for a 100% return on your DAO. It doesn't really, it's worth it. If I didn't really have PulseX at the moment for the sacrifice, I would have left everything on the DAOs because I still like I still like Olympus DAO and the fact that it produces so much interest. But obviously the price action would have to really improve. And I was getting a little antsy, to be honest. But the only reason I pulled it was due to the fact of the opportunity cost and the opportunity that is presenting itself right now for PulseX. So that's my own decision, educated decision based on also the allocated Pulse Chain tokens that I have received. So in this case, I wanted confirmation that Pulse Chain was actually real. due to the fact that this is a very weird way to actually participate on a initial offering of a token. Like you're literally sending money from your MetaMask to a different address. It's not like, from all the other IDOs that I have done, or the Pulse chain, the parachain auctions on Polkadot that have to do so much shit to actually participate on the parachain auctions on the substrate. Literally this is sending your money from MetaMask to an origin address, which, for me, I had my own skepticism. I'm like, am I just sending money to like someone that's just gonna go ahead and take the money and run? And that's a valid concern. But at the same time, since I have already gotten my Pulse chain tokens, it has added validation into going even bigger for the Pulse X sacrifice.
So I'm trying to compare this in my brain to like the Avalanche network. So the Pulse is like the Avalanche and the AVAX, right? And it's going to be the gas and everything for this ecosystem. Thanks, Bob. And then so okay, I invested a lot of money in Pangolin because they were supposed to be the #1 exchange on Avalanche, and unfortunately they didn't. They just like went basically belly up. They quickly became the #2. The devs walked off the project, and then Trader Joe like stepped up, and like all of a sudden they're #1, and they're not doing anywhere near as good as obviously Avalanche is. Do you see that there's a possibility with that same thing happening with this, with Pulse? Like Pulse is like the Avalanche, and then like Pulse X could be the Pangolin or the Trader Joe, and then them not really doing or being as successful?
I don't see it that way. It is definitely a possibility because obviously, I'm not a developer for the team and I cannot speak for that. However, from my perspective, when Pulse Chain is launching, which is like the avalanche of all of that, the main thing in here is that it's giving us all these free tokens for us to actually be engaged in the platform. And Pulse X is going to be the #1 place that there's going to be liquidity providing into it. So, and half of the liquidity is already being provided to the liquidity provider. So I don't foresee, and it's completely decentralized, really, literally, there's no admin keys. So there is no team behind it to rug pull. There's no team behind it. It's completely immutable code, and there's really no changes or team behind it after the mainnet is completely launched. So it's literally the market going out there into the Pulse chain environment and saying like, this is what we pick, who's going to be the winner or the leader according to the fees and all these different things, right? Like literally capitalism. So what I see is that many other projects that are trying to develop under the Pulse chain ecosystems, they're the ones that are going to, some of them are going to be scams. There's already a bunch of NFT platforms trying to launch under Pulse chain. There is other DeFi type of platforms that are going to try to launch, but they're not Richard Hertz. And the fact is that the reason that Pulse chain is going to be so popular and Pulse X is due to the fact that the community of Hex is getting a copy of the Hex tokens in the Pulse chain network. Automatically, we're going to get double our investment into the Pulse chain network. So the incentive for us to continue to be under the Pulse chain network and support the two projects give me a lot of faith on Pulse X due to the fact that there's really no other Uniswap fork being formed into the Pulse chain network. And if there is, I'm not saying that it's not going to be used, but it's probably not going to be used by the community of Hex, which is the biggest one.
But if it doubles your money, then won't it be? Isn't that inflation? Like that's what I really worry about with all this stuff with Hex and stuff like this. It's so inflationary.
Well, Hex is an inflationary token for sure, but it also burns the tokens when you stake them. So at the moment when you stake your Hex, it gets burned and it gives you a t-shirt in exchange. So you've taken out the Hex out of circulation, and the t-shirts are the ones that are producing the Hex with the inflationary algorithm into it at 3.67%. And at the moment of the t-shirt maturing, then it mints the Hex into existence. And therefore you get your Hex into your MetaMask wallet. So it's deflationary and inflationary at the same time because it burns it and then also inflates it because it mints new coins into existence. But Pulse X and Pulse Chain are deflationary, where they burn the transaction. Anything going into the transactions is going to be burned. Pulse X is also going to be deflationary. So So there's no inflation built into those two platforms at all. Hex is the only one that has inflation, but it's only due to the fact that we need interest to be paid out for the stakers. And obviously the interest can only come from inflation.
Sounds good.
I have a question.
You're gonna steal my time.
So I got a question. So if you've got like Uniswap or SushiSwap, it'd probably be more advantageous to sell it right now and buy Hex, right?
Yeah.
And just to hold on to it and it get pulled into the ecosystem.
Yeah, like Adam, well, I mean, your Uniswap token will be also copied into the Pulse chain network. If you're holding Uniswap on your MetaMask, you will also get a copy of that Uniswap token on Pulse. But this is the thing, you would need liquidity to be provided under that token, under that project, under the Pulse network for it to have some sort of value. So what we're thinking is that obviously all these different tokens that we're going to get airdropped into our wallets, they either have value or have zero value due to the fact that either there's going to be volume being traded within the Pulse chain network for that specific token or not. And what we can guarantee though right now is that the Hex token will have volatility and will have price discovery under the Pulse network, because Pulse chain is literally being created for the Hexicans. It's literally being created for Hex to be staked within the Pulse network. As far as the PHEX, yeah, Hexicans is basically how the community is called.
That's awesome. I'm half Mexican.
but your tokens are
Half
going to
be
your tokens are going to be copied into this Pulse chain network for Hex, and the main people that are going to be trading within the Pulse network are going to be people that are buying and selling Hex. And the reason that we want Pulse to actually launch, and for us, is literally the only reason that we want to do that is because we want to create stakes within the Pulse network with lower gas fees. Like just doing stake is like $300, and all these different stakes that we have is just like, fuck, you know, we have to pay all these different fees.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's an opportunity for us to get T-shares at a way lower price and also buy Hex again under the Pulse network at a lower price, since it has already proven to have gone up 10,000x. Imagine going into Hex the first day, knowing that it's going to go ahead and do a multiples and gains. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. The reason that we want Pulse X to launch as soon as possible with the Pulse chain network, as far as the mainnet, is because we want to go in and buy as much Hex as possible under the Pulse network, because it's a brand new platform and we're moving away from Ethereum to go into the Pulse net. So and at the same time, if you buy Hex right now, you're literally going to get a copy of those Hex coins into the Pulse network. So automatically you're going to be at a profit.
Yeah, but you have to pay the fees now. So why wouldn't you wait?
No, you don't have to pay the fees right now. Like, well, I mean, obviously if you
Ethereum gas fees, you do.
But it's $30, you know, like $60 or $90 at the most, you know.
Okay, so you think that you should, okay, so this is what you're saying. You should buy Hex now, spend $30 in gas fees. It's not a big deal because you're going to get twice as much on the other side, right? And then
it all depends on how much you really want to put in. If you only have $300, maybe not the best idea.
Right, but if you're going to put like 5 or 10 grand into it, it's probably
it would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you put $5,000 of Hex right now, you're out of that 5,000. Well, I mean, the Hex tokens that you were able to purchase with that 5,000 automatically will duplicate under the Pulse network. So whatever price discovery Hex has under the Pulse network, which is basically, we're calling it PHEX or EHEX, Ethereum Hex, and PHEX Pulse Hex. Basically, PHEX is going to have its own price, and EHEX is going to have its own price. Which one is going to perform better? We don't know. But what we're speculating is that a lot of the volume that Ethereum has right now is going to move into Pulse. And what does that give you as far as an initial idea? Well, if I am one of the few ones that got free Hex under the Pulse network, automatically that's going to be added value into the investment that I currently have, even if you then automatically sell your EHEX. Or if you're able to purchase PHEX through PulseX, you know, on day one, you know that you know, all these massive whales are going to be buying PHEX on the first day. And we're actually thinking, like, one of the conversations that people have in the Hex community is like, how soon do you think we're going to reach parity price as far as PHEX reaching the price point of EHEX, and how long will it take? You know, and a lot of people, according to the volume that is going to be traded and the liquidity that has already been provided, you know, we're thinking just a couple weeks, you know. So if you were to buy, even if your strategy was just to buy PHEX on day one, that would be a good strategy. But why not get free? Why not get
1x,
free,
right? Right off the bat in a couple days.
Why not get free tokens if you buy EHEX right now, and then sacrifices for PulseX and then do 100x on that? You know, it's like it's your opportunity cost to not participate on these projects is really great, and that's why I sold all my DAOs.
No, I'm like, you've convinced me. Like, I'm gonna do it too.
Right,
Even
good.
your Bitcoin? Did you liquidate your?
I'm
Bitcoin
not selling
as well?
my Bitcoin. I'm gonna sell everything else though. No, I'm gonna sell
I didn't
a
sell
lot
any
of it.
Bitcoin. I didn't sell any of my Bitcoin either.
What do you guys? What do you guys all think of Ethereum? Is everybody like not into Ethereum?
I mean, I use it for gas fees.
Yeah.
But what? Okay, so I mean, from what I understand, so many things are built on the network. NFTs have exploded off the network. That, like, just the network effect alone is like so massive. From what I understand, on Ethereum, like, why is it just because the gas fees are high and it's slow? And like, I guess what's the case for why like Ethereum is not a good investment anymore? Because I have most of my money in Ethereum, and so I'm like, and it's one of the things I understand the most because I've kind of done the most research on it. But like, why is Ethereum not a great investment? I get the feeling from this.
Like, look, you can see it from an investor point of view or from a technological admiring type of point of view. If you're literally looking at it from an investor point of view, you are looking at ROI. Will Ethereum is it likely for it to do a 1x within the next couple months? What is the answer? Probably not. You know, is it going to do a 3x? Is it going to do a 5x? So as far as
Definitely not.
So as far as it's probably going to keep going down, you know, and that's the reality of it. So if you're looking at it from an investor point of view, when he looks into what is your ROI investment, it's not a good investment due to the fact that it's correlated to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is not showing us that it's going to go parabolic. And even if it does, what would be the potential gains on your Ethereum from this point forward? So $3,100, $3,500 to maybe $7,000, maybe an $8,000 Ethereum this bull run. Okay, cool. If that's a 1x, congratulations. We just did that on Hex, you know, within 1 week, you know. So and when a couple of weeks ago 10 cents, and we have an all-time high of 50 cents, you know. So potentially you could even double your money right now if you were to purchase Hex at this moment. You could double it and then just sell it, and that's a better investment than Hex, and at the same time, I mean, than Ethereum, and at the same time you're getting a copy on Pulse, you know. So that's even a better investment than Ethereum in itself. And if you participate on Pulse, for example, like, your opportunity cost is just incredibly great. So from an investor point of view, fuck Ethereum. From a technological point of view, dude, Ethereum is daddy, you know. Ethereum has revolutionized the crypto industry, and we have to pay our respects. But from the mathematical point of view, you know, fuck it.
Gotcha. Okay,
Carlos,
so maybe like in the grand scheme, it's almost like looking at it as like the Apple or the Microsoft. It's almost like a blue chip at this point. Might move slowly up
Exactly
over time, and is maybe you're not gonna like lose, you know, 80%.
I mean, you remember that in a bear market, Ethereum loses 95 to 97% of its value.
It's bad.
It's really bad, really bad. You know, so if you're willing to go through that, awesome, dude. You're a long-term investment. Good for you, you know, for having that long-term vision. But why do that when you can have when you have other opportunities, and then later on you can go ahead and buy more Ethereum if you wanted to.
Bitcoin. You should
Do
have
Bitcoin
all of
instead,
it.
yeah. Do
Carlos,
It
Bitcoin
should all be
instead.
in Bitcoin, in my opinion. Sorry.
Carlos, I got two questions.
Kind of a
Do we
mess.
know yet when this pulse chain mirror duplicate is going to be happening, or is it still like unannounced?
It's probably going to be announced.
It's not out yet, the date. You don't know.
No, they're basically what they call it a snapshot. I need to get some water. I've been talking too much. It's called the snapshot. When will the snapshot happen? As far as the copy of the ERC20 tokens, when boom, there's a snapshot, and then they're going to be then airdrop into the into the Pulse Chain network. The snapshot will happen soon before the mainnet launch. You don't have a specific date, but it will more than likely be announced by Richard Hart. So I recommend that you follow him on Twitter.
Okay. And then second question, the hex that I have staked will also get mirrored, duplicated?
Yes, all your stakes will be doubled.
Okay, excellent.
So if you have $15,000 staked right now, that amount of hex for, let's say, for 5 years, you will also have a stake under the Pulse network at the same hex, like with the same amount of hex tokens under the Pulse network. So if we reach parity price very quickly, you will then have 2 stakes expiring in 5 years for the same amount.
That's awesome.
Wait, so you do want to stake it or you don't want to stake it? Like if I bought Hex right now, I'll get double or don't stake it? Or what do you recommend? Don't stake it? I guess I'm confused.
If you want to sacrifice it, you can't stake it, right?
Different strategies depending on what you want to achieve.
Yeah, well,
I mean, why is what's the advantage of not staking it? If it goes up like a 10x, I could sell it right away?
Yeah, it's more liquid.
Because it's locked in, and if it's staking, right?
Yeah, you cannot take it out. If it's staked,
yeah, you cannot. You lock it up. But you're basically accumulating interest, you know. So per t-shirt that you were able to purchase, you're getting paid 6 hex per day per t-shirt. So, you know, it's up to you, you know, like up until this point, you know, I'm looking at my staker app and I have 25% of it is staked, you know, only, you know, but I have a big bag. But that 25% is enough to have stakes expiring every single year all the way until 15 years. And then I have big stakes ending in 15 years. So why do I not stake then the whole thing? Well, because a sacrifice phase of PulseX, I'm sacrificing, you know, some of these hex. And at the same time, I want to maintain some liquid hex in my bags from now on, because as price is pumping so much, like I said,
You want to take profits.
Well, I want to buy a Patek Philippe, like I said, you know, so that's really gonna go ahead and cost me like 350,000. And
that watch is $350,000.
Hey,
Carlos, oh my God, Carlos, you have to tell us what you do every day, all day long, because I want to be able to do that too.
You need to watch.
I suck. You know what you said earlier? You're like, well, you know, just sell your bags and, you know, before the end of the year, blah, 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 because, you know, you can take the losses. I'm thinking, you have to have gains to offset them. I think I'm like the only person that lost money this entire year. I'm just kidding.
No, I've made a lot of money. This is a year I have made the most money I have ever made in my life.
Like, you're not coming out of Ohm at a loss, though, aren't you? Didn't you make 50 grand off of it? So what, you're down
well, overall,
only 30 now?
No, yeah, but I took profits. I took like 50 or more, like in profits, like over, you know, a few months. But but my last, you know how I was living 30,000, you know, every time.
Yes.
That 30,000 turned into 20,000, and that's or 40,000, and then I lost 20,000. Overall, I lost like 20,000 from the last 30 that I had left in there.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So Carlos,
but like I said,
one of those rotating things in the back then too, where you put your watches in, like Richard Hart has. and then every Wednesday you're gonna show us your watches first.
I'll be like, oh, let me tell you about Hex.
No, this Richard Hart, I mean, he's a character. He's so funny. He bought like this duck Louis Vuitton bag, and then he has a Louis Vuitton stupid bear, plush bear,
No,
and
but
the plush bear is humping the stupid duck bag
I've
and
always-
whatever.
I've always wanted, like, this is basically one of the achievements, you know, like it's a celebratory watch that I would like to get as a statement for the achievements of this year, right? Like, this year was so good to me that, you know, I want to celebrate by commemorating it with a watch, you know, and every time that I look at the watch, I am proud of the year, of the decisions that I've made, et cetera, et cetera. So, and plus it goes up in value. It's not just like a wasteful thing, you know, that, you know, it doesn't go up in value as Hex, you know, it's Hexas, but it does go up in value, and it's a good investment to kind of do it, and I can just wear it in my wrist, you know, so it's just, if you can't do it, why not, you know?
Yeah, why? It's like the guy who created, you know, Vita Talk or whatever his name is, the guy who created Ethereum, you know, I saw him in a tub or whatever, and he filled the whole thing with, like, you know, the most expensive champagne, you know, why not?
He doesn't drink it though. He only eats salads, lettuce leaves. Have you ever seen what he eats?
Vitalik?
It's just Vitalik, yeah. He just eats like lettuce leaves and stuff. Every interview he goes to is like another lettuce leaf that he's munching on.
Such a weird guy. Weird looking.
Can you clarify something for me that's in the back of my mind that I don't understand of this whole thing? Is if when you're sacrificing this, you're assuming you're letting it go under the quote unquote, you're not supposed to gain anything from it. But how,
you're making a political statement. Yeah.
If you're sending it to the same wallet, and if everybody's sending it to the same address, how is it associated with you if you're going to make returns from it?
Well, look, let me show you the Ether scan and how it looks, so you can see how it's actually being tracked. So this is a sacrificing address. As you can see, you see that there is a lot of people sending money into it. So as far as when you're looking at the transfers, you see all the original addresses that have sent it to this address. So you basically see the addresses sending this amount of money into this address over here. So
that's a lot. Everybody's sending. That's a bunch. Each one of the person sending, like somebody sent 24,000 and someone sent 5 million.
Yeah. There's a lot of millionaires. There's a ton of millionaires and billionaires that have sacrificed for the Pulse chain. Like there was one guy that sacrificed $8 billion.
What?
Yeah, so
$8 billion?
Yeah,
B.
With a
Yes.
B, yeah.
Years and boy.
Yeah.
But like the richest people in the world only have like 200 billion. That seems ridiculous.
Well, in crypto, it doesn't mean that it's liquid. You know, it's like you don't necessarily need to have it in your bank account. There are some of these tokens that have, like Shiba Inu, for example, that are, let's say that it only has 200 million in liquidity, but their portfolios are worth 8 billion. You know, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they're billionaires or that they could pull out $8 billion on their token, but they have certain amount of cash value due to the fact that the price action, you know. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, they have $1 billion literally in USD in their bank. It just depends on the token that they're sending. But yeah, there's tons of people in there that sacrifice, like just like that, $16 million. And there's this guy that sacrificed, like, you know, 8 million, 6 million, you know, whatever, like 20 million in total. And, you know, you're looking at all these numbers and you're like,
crazy.
I wish I had
It's
money
associated with their wallet. So somehow it's going to go back to.
Yeah. So all these money that is going in there, it's tracking basically addresses sending it. So you are able to actually download the CSV file and see the addresses that have sent money into it. So there's Pulse Lead XYZ.
You can calculate who's got.
And then it automatically just sends it at some point, like after the 20th or whatever of January, if you got something from it.
Yeah, automatically. So you can see here, like these are all the addresses that sent for the pulse chain sacrifice. Like you could see, like it wasn't 6 billion, it was 29 million basically. This is the actual factual
Okay,
data.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Now, this is the factual data. So it's like $29 million, the number one sacrificing address. 19 million, 19 million, 15 million, 10 million. And basically from the address that you're sending it into, you could basically see who sent it. And you could see the transaction on here. So these are all the transactions that this wallet address sent, and therefore will get credit in pulse chain tokens. And if I were to type in my wallet address here, you would be able to see my contribution from that wallet address, which you will be able to see here. There you go. On this wallet address, I sacrificed 10,000 in USD, and I sacrificed 3,000 hex, right? So it was $440 and then 10,000 USD value at the moment of sacrifice from this specific wallet address. So you see, like, by just clicking your wallet address, you would be able to see whether the sacrifice went through or not.
Okay, good. I just wanted to know that how it was associated somehow, because when you're sending it to the one address, I didn't understand.
Yeah, well, it's blockchain, you know, so the transactions are public.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
You don't get a receipt or anything. Certificate of deposit. You
Well,
just,
I mean, technically, you do get a receipt in the Etherscan. There's a little receipt on that.
right.
But I mean, this is how all the DeFi goes, right? Everything is just linked to your wallet address. You don't have like an account anymore. You don't have passwords and all of this stuff anymore. You just, your wallet is your passcode, so to say, in all of these projects.
Yeah.
Like when you stake Hex, it's the same thing. You connect your wallet, and that is your only way to ever access your staked Hex.
Yeah, that's true. All right, guys. If you guys have any questions, just hit me up. I've already shown you guys how to do that. If you guys have any questions about PulseX, there's tons of videos coming out. As far as the details from the user fees, the burning mechanism, the tokenomics, and the pumponomics of the project coming out. If you guys want to know more, all I know is that it's a really good project and it's better than Uniswap because of the lower fees and the burning mechanism.
Where do you buy Hex? On Uniswap?
Yeah, you can buy it on Uniswap. You can buy
But
it.
what's the cheapest place to buy it? Where?
Matcha. I do it through matcha.xyz because it grabs the liquidity from different exchanges like 1inch or Uniswap or SushiSwap and all these different exchanges. So it basically searches all the different pricing points and it gets you the best price. Matcha.xyz.
How do you spell MATCHA?
Yeah, .xyz.
Can you just do it in MetaMask? You swap?
No.
No?
I mean, you could. No, you can't. Not for Hex.
Matcha.xyz?
But on the Hex site itself, there is a swap.
Yeah, you can go to hex.com and swap it through Uniswap, but
It was, yeah, it's hex.com. That's right. That's where you can do it.
but you can't. Don't do it through Uniswap because, like I said, you know your slippage is going to be pretty high. Like as far as the fees that you're going to pay for Uniswap, if you go through matcha.xyz, that'll be the best platform that you can buy through for you to get the lowest slippage.
What
So
do you
if
have to
you've
do? You
got,
have to
like-
change the slippage? What is it? Or what's the slippage?
We don't have that problem, Carlos. We're not changing 3 million to Hex. Like
Slippage is a big deal. It's like 15%.
Yeah, but not for like the small amounts that we deal with. It's like for the big people.
That's true.
Like,
To the people who can afford $350,000 watches,
like,
you know, that
yeah,
kind of thing. Those kind of people.
if you buy $2,000 of Hex, it's not going to give you a whole lot of slippage.
So if you've got like Coinbase Pro and that's where you got most of your portfolio and you want to buy Hex through Matcha,
You have to do it through your MetaMask wallet. It's a decentralized action.
okay.
So you have to get a MetaMask
Yeah.
and send Ethereum to it. Once you have Ethereum in it, that'll serve you to, navigate the Ethereum network or any DeFi platform. And therefore, if you have USDC in your MetaMask, or you want to purchase just Hex with that same Ethereum, let's say that you send $5,000 of it. Well, don't buy all of it in Ethereum, due to the fact that you're going to need some Ethereum for the gas fees.
Yes.
So it's a decentralized action that you have to do outside of a centralized exchange such as Coinbase. So everything here is going to be on the web.
Okay.
And
'cause
also, I
most
would
of-
recommend for you to move your assets into your MetaMask from your exchange, so you can get an airdrop of the same tokens when Pulse Chain launches, because you're not going to get a copy of your assets if they're within an exchange account.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
something I wanted to ask. I couldn't find a lot of support on MetaMask for a lot of the tokens that I really have. I mean, all the Ethereum tokens, okay, then the Avalanche, the Binance Smart Chain, but what about Polkadot? Can you have that on the MetaMask? What
No,
about,
it's not an ERC20 token.
yeah, but Avalanche is not an ERC20. I mean, there's like different ways of having things on the MetaMask that are not ERC20 tokens.
Right, but the only ones that are getting airdropped is ERC20.
Yeah, okay. No, I mean for the sacrifice and for all of that.
Well,
Yeah.
that for the sacrifice is going to be a different story. What you're asking is two different things. The Pulse Chain sacrifice, where was that whole
Yeah,
thing?
but for the sacrifice, I also have to have it in MetaMask first, and then I can sacrifice it. So everything has to be in MetaMask somehow.
Yeah, definitely it does. For you to send it, you have to select the network like Binance and all that, and it'll give you the address where to send it to. If you're
Oh, so
sending-
there's different ones. I was just gonna ask. So you can do it like if I wanted to send some AVAX or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh, it's there. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, Monera's on the list.
Oh my gosh, I'm sending all my BSC.
Yeah,
Dogecoin.
yes. If you have BSC, Binance Smart
I
Chain.
have it
That's
all, Carlos. I
right
have
here.
like
Carlos,
$10 worth of every coin.
Carlos, the address that you put in the chat was for Hex, right?
No, the address that I sent you guys is the
Sacrifice.
Ethereum address for the
Ethereum
sacrifice for Pulse X. This is where you're gonna send your money. You can go into waiting for the address to be on the official website. PulseX.com is the official website for PulseX. And not any other chain. Like there's already scamming websites out there. There's one that says PulseX.
Of course.
Well, I'm not even gonna mention them. There's tons of them. The only ones that are legit is pulsex.com and pulsex.info. Those are the only legitimate PulseX websites that you guys will be able to see the sacrificing address once they launch the thing. They, like I said, the reason they was just launched today was just because of the urgency that other people had to sacrifice or to record losses on their other positions to be able to sacrifice today. But it wasn't due to anything else. They're going to launch the actual official website. Don't FOMO into it. Really think about whether you want to participate on this or not. Think about the tokenomics. Think about the pumponomics. Think about the project in itself, the Uniswap fork, and literally look for information that supports your investment decisions. And consider your opportunity cost as far as the opportunity that has been presented in front of you. So I would say just make your own decision based on the knowledge that you're able to acquire.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlos. This has been amazing.
Great.
Once
Thank
again.
you so much, Carlos.
Oh yeah, thank you, Carlos.
Do they make a women's $350,000 watch just in case?
Yeah, they do. They have a pretty cool one on the tech.
I'm just trying to get up to the Rolex Submariner.
That's only 10K, bro. That's only 10K.
Sell your Ethereum and put it into this.
Seriously, no, I'm gonna.
No,
think
look, if you sell your Ethereum right now, put it into Hex and wait for the Pulse Chain launch to duplicate your coins. You sell your Hex then once it has been duplicated, and I can assure you, you'll be able to buy your Submariner.
That's a pretty big statement. That's
Yeah. Like it doesn't.
Wow,
Like there's,
Carlos. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Hex is
Yeah.
up to 34 cents now. Wow. It's crazy. It just shot up today so much.
Do you think it's
Yeah.
going to keep going up? Or should we buy like right now or should we go wait?
No, I would say wait, because there's
Okay.
always this FOMO. Like last time that I saw it on Pulse, for the Pulse sacrifice, we were at 8 cents, and then suddenly it pumped all the way to 15, and I bought another bag of at 15 cents. Obviously, at this point, you're like, what's 15 cents on 35 cents? You know, it doesn't. But when you're planning to sacrifice, you know, it's like what happened was that it went from 8 cents to 15 cents, and then it was playing with 16 cents or something like that, and then it dipped all the way to 12 cents, and then it went to 8 cents again, but like it got in up in like you know, within 2 minutes. From 8 cents it pumped all the way again to like 14 cents. What my guess is that it's not probably going to pump too much more. It's probably going to maintain itself within the 30 to 35 cent ratio, like or range right now, because today's pump was already quite significant. I wouldn't.
And then maybe like what you're saying is true, like maybe wait till January 1 or later, because then all the people who wanted to sort of like buy with all of their losses and things like that, then that would be you know, that would be over. So
Yeah, there's a lot of selling pressure today too. Like there's about 70 million in buying pressure, and there is about 50 million in selling pressure too. You know, it's like today, you know, it's like I made so much money that instead of sacrificing, I'll just go ahead and, for example, like I'm not going to do that, but in my mindset of taking profits, I would be like, well, I'll just sell $50,000 today. I'll wait for it to do a little bit of a correction to like maybe 32 cents, 30 cents. I'll rebuy my hex, you know. So, you know, you're going to be seeing trading activity, you know, like people trying to trade hex. And I would say take your time, set limit orders on matcha.xyz if you can, at a pricing point that you wish, you know, for hex, and put it at 30 cents, you know, that it's going to be probably a better deal than 35 cents. But at the same time, if you're looking at the bigger picture, never forget either that same amount of hex is going to get duplicated on the Pulse chain. So don't be unmotivated by, let's say that it doesn't continue to pump, you know, like people FOMOing into it, expecting a 50 cent pump or a 60 cent dump. 60 cent pump, because that's what I expected when I bought in at 15 cents before the sacrifice. I asked my whale friend, he told me it's probably going to pump all the way to 28 cents before the sacrifice phase, because we're pumping our bags for the sacrifice. But that's not what happened. And I had that big expectation, and I bought even way more hex. Now, obviously, that has paid out like really, really well.
Phew.
but it's being a long-term investment, right? From the sacrifice phase from 2 months ago, and I had to survive. Well, like not survive, but like that whole freaking 80% correction that we just saw, you know, from like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. You know, I was looking at my bags, and I'm like, well, I'm still in the green, you know. You know, I bought in at 1 cent. Obviously, I'm not gonna complain when the investment doesn't go under 15 cents. Obviously, I'm still 15x on my investment, but it's not 50x. You know, yeah, where I saw my number of my investment go to 50 times the investment, I'm just like, fuck. You know, it's like I'm super rich. You know, and then you know, seeing that 80% dip on your investment is really harsh. So what I'm trying to say is the following. You know, don't fall for the FOMO of an unexpected pump at this moment, because you're more than likely going to be disappointed by the pump not being significant as you thought it would be, because that's what happened to me. Now, it doesn't mean that that's the same thing that is going to happen, but let's be realistic. It's probably not going to double its price within just a couple of days. You know, it's probably going to take a lot more time to do that. And you're probably going to see a nice little volatility going on right now for the sacrifice phase. but it might have maybe a 20% increase, or it might just maintain itself, or you might actually see a little bit of a correction before a bigger pump. The pump of 50 cents came after the sacrifice phase of Pulse. So after the sacrifice phase was over at 15 cents, 16 cents, suddenly I'm like, oh, fuck, okay, whatever. It's not probably going to pump. And then suddenly, just within 2 weeks, it pumped all the way to 50 cents. So I was like, why now? Why not before the sacrifice? So if history is an indicator of anything, I would say that the price of Hex is really going to pump hard after the sacrifice phase of Pulse X. I don't know why, but that's what happened last time.
Cool.
History repeats itself.
Or it rhymes.
Today.
All right, cool. Well, I'm in the chat, guys. Let me know if you guys
All
have any
right.
questions.
So much, Carlos.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you,
Thank you,
Carla.
Send
guys.
us some pictures from the North Pole.
Yes. Send us pictures. Have the best
When you
time.
going?
Don't freeze. Don't do that dive by yourself. You're going with other people, right?
Yeah, no, there's a whole team of like professionals. Well, they're not like cult professionals or doctors, but they're helicopter professionals that can save me or call someone.
What, you're going again to the North Pole?
No, I was in the Mexican jungle first, and now I'm going to the North Pole.
Oh, I thought you went already. Okay.
No, not yet.
Take
Mexican
your
jungle was
Garmin.
first.
Take your
Awesome.
Garmin with you.
Say that
Take
again.
your,
Oh,
take your
Garmin.
Garmin with you.
yeah, I will.
All right, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Year.
Year.
New Year.
Bye.
Thanks for coming tonight, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Next year.